Welcome back to The Truth is Viral. My name is Bob Powell, and I suppose it's appropriate that storm clouds are rolling in now that North Korea has decided to up its game and threaten Guam after President Trump threatened fire and fury. Folks, this is a deadly little game that we're playing, and one of the players has been left out. Nobody's talking about him at all. So today we're going to discuss the very real threat that's posed by North Korea and the Islamic Republic of Iran, an ally of the Hermit Kingdom that's been largely ignored in the past couple of weeks while Kim Jong-Un has been being a little boisterous. You know, Iran and the North Koreans have been sharing nuclear and missile technology for decades, and their nuclear weapons programs are virtually identical. They depend on one another. And in the understatement of the century, the head of the 9/11 Commission, Tom Keene, said that the most important failure leading to the attacks was one of imagination. We do not believe leaders understood the gravity of the threat. Well, today we're going to hear from two CIA spies who do understand the gravity of the threat. First up is Reza Kahlili, an Iranian-born CIA spy embedded with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, who is also a member of the Congressional Electromagnetic Pulse Commission. He explains how just two electromagnetic pulse devices detonated high above the United States would send the entire country back to the 1800s in a millisecond, without the ability to support 330 million people. The Congressional Electromagnetic Pulse Commission estimates that up to 90% of the country's population could die after such an attack, and one can be carried out with proven technology already in the possession of both Iran and North Korea. In an interview I conducted 2 years ago, Reza says that the IRGC has been training to use SCUDs launched from container ships to deliver a devastating EMP strike with zero warning to U.S. forces. He says that the intermediate range missiles can also be launched from a secret Iranian missile base in Venezuela, a country torn apart by civil strife that's recently been infiltrated by hordes of Muslim terrorists taking advantage of the situation, looking for a safe haven.
Revolutionary Guard have armed the vessels with ballistic missiles, and that they are ready. These ballistic missiles could be launched from anywhere, and they're going to expand their mission into Atlantic Ocean. So you could see a commercial ship, not necessarily a naval ship, a commercial ship coming up the Atlantic Ocean, close to Venezuela, Cuba, right behind the Gulf of Mexico, or even further down. And from a container in less than 60 seconds, launch a missile with a nuclear bomb on top of it to create an electromagnetic pulse attack. I have also verified that they've got neutron bombs. Neutron bombs are super EMP bombs. So they could plan an attack as such, which, if successful, only one or two could create such havoc in U.S. and send us back to the 18th century. All the power grids would fry, everything with electronics would fry, cars would stop operating, communication would go down. And actually a report by the Congress, a commission for the Congress, has stated that if such attack were to occur, 2/3 of American population would cease to exist just after 1 year of such attack.
Yeah, I read that. It was from Dr. Peter Vincent Pry. He was a member of the Congressional EMP Commission, and some of the percentages are up to 90%. And these people are going to be dying from starvation, from disease, from lack of medical care. You won't even be able to pump water unless you've got an old crank pump. So you were speaking about Venezuela a minute ago. Now, don't the Iranians have a secret missile base in Venezuela?
They do. Actually, what they did, again, I put out something a long time ago that there was a contract between the Islamic regime in Iran and the Venezuelan government, Hugo Chavez, where they would build a missile site. The Revolutionary Guard have got many plants in Venezuela. It provides as one of the main hubs of their activity in Latin America, expanding their terror cells, taking Hezbollah and others over there, and so you see. The threat is on multi-stages. It's like a cancerous cell spreading through, not only throughout the region, throughout the world, and we have continuously failed to understand that.
Well, the rain's starting to fall down, so I need to get out of here. Let's go back to the TTIV studio, and we'll talk to CIA spy Jim Garrow live via Skype and see what he has to say. I understand that he's got a bombshell to drop on us. Pardon the pun. We'll be right back.
I'm Pete Santilli, and you're watching The Truth is Viral.
Do not click away. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
And now, live via Skype, my guest is former CIA spy Jim Garrow. Jim spied on China for the United States for decades, while he headed up a rescue mission that saved tens of thousands of unwanted Chinese girls from the communist state's one-child policy. Since China is the biggest influence on North Korea, and having served in the Far East for over half of his life, I'm sure that Jim has some very valuable insights to share. Jim, thanks for coming back to The Truth is Viral, brother. It's been a long time, and I'm glad to have you back. How have you been?
Hey, Bob, I have been great. God has been good to me. And, of course, we look to the safety and security of America as being something that we need to dig our heels into and get our noses right in there and make sure that we're doing all we can to do that. And I must say this, that I find the moves of our president to be great. He's doing the right thing. He's not listening to the wrong advice. He's taking good counsel and making the right moves. And in spite of what the left, their heads are spinning, are saying about him.
Well, Jim, for a second, before we get into Iran and North Korea, let's talk about your statement that the president is taking good advice, because he's got Henry McMaster's in there as his head of the National Security Council, and he's giving him spectacularly bad advice.
Well, you know, I remember a little statement that you hear it often, but people for some reason don't pay attention to it. But it says you keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So you wanna deal with the folks who are ready to stab you in the back and run around and do their thing and embarrass you. Well, you keep them really close, and that's what the president is doing. Let's not worry about the fact that the left-wing press, which have stated clearly they want to take him down, their agenda is left-wing. It's Marxist, and they will do everything they can to illustrate that the president is in some way not competent, not fit to be the president. Well, you know, the American public voted him in, and so he is legally the president of the United States. He is demonstrably brilliant in what he does, in spite of, again, what the press and the left-wingers and the Marxists want to shout from the treetops and the rooftops about him. So, I mean, they have the ear of a small percentage of the public who are easily swayed, but I think the majority of the public see through it. They've seen the lies, they've seen the spin, and they hear these people who pronounce themselves as experts and show no real evidence that they even speak the truth.
Yeah, he's definitely playing chess at a level that we're not accustomed to seeing. And I saw this, I realized this when he got rid of Reince Priebus by bringing in Mr. Scaramucci. Okay, he got rid of a knight or a rook, something like that, by using a pawn, by sacrificing a pawn. Okay, that was a beautiful move. And the transgender issue when that came up in the National Defense Authorization Act. My own local representative, like President Trump, you know, they said, like Jim Mattis, they said, take it out, you know, of the National Defense Authorization Act. Okay, don't worry about it. Let's not legislate monies for transgenderism. Okay, and everybody was mad at him. Why would you use federal funds to pay for sex change operations for people that are obviously mentally ill. And then after the National Defense Authorization Act is passed, what does President Trump do but authorizes an executive action that forbids the spending of federal monies? So you don't have to go through the whole congressional rigmarole and all the red tape. He just cut right to the chase. And I thought that was a brilliant move. And, at first I was kind of mad, but then after what he did, I was like, oh man, they're playing chess at a level that's way above everybody's head, even mine. And so I don't know what's coming. And that's why we need to get our heads together. We need to think outside the box. And think of things that our leaders are not thinking of. Because I've been watching North Korean launches, and they're talking about this new intercontinental ballistic missile that can go and that can target half of the United States. Okay,
yeah, Bob,
that's not the problem, as I see
Bob,
it.
let me jump in here because here it was hilarious when Kim Jong-Un, little Kim, when he showed the world that he had a miniaturized nuclear weapon that would fit on top as the warhead of this missile system that he demonstrated once blowing up and another time supposedly flying off and doing its thing. But the man put really the innards of a microwave in front of a camera and said, "Now look what we've created." To me, it was like I had a couple of phone calls saying, "Did you see what he actually is showing? Do you know what that is?"
So are you disagreeing with the Defense Intelligence Agency's assessment that little Kim has anywhere between 20 and 60 nuclear weapons?
Yeah, absolutely. He does not. He might have one, but if you show the innards of a microwave and claim it to be a nuclear weapon, well, if I have a bridge for sale and if you make the bank transfer, I'd be glad to give you the certificate saying you own that Brooklyn Bridge. There's stupidity all over the place. There's people who want to point the finger at Mr. Trump. This is where this comes from. Give us evidence, make up evidence, spin things all the way you want so that we can use it against Mr. Trump. So now the spin is, he has dozens or hundreds of nuclear weapons, little Kim. And he doesn't. When he is forced by the public and his own media, which he controls totally, when they're asking him, well, they doubt us, can we show them something? And of course, he showed them something. He showed them a picture of a missile going up in the air. Then he showed them a quick snap of a microwave, the innards of a microwave, rather than what would be fitting into a miniature nuclear weapon. Yeah, it's all spin. But so many people are sucked into this media frenzy of proof positive that Trump is endangering the United States and he's mentally ill and he's and it all fits. It's all part of the same charade.
Well, I know that Kim has nuclear weapons because he's tested at least a few. And
well, we know of one test. That's all.
Uh-huh.
We know of one.
Okay, and we know that also that from what Reza Kahlili told me earlier, Iran has several nuclear weapons.
But now you've done it. You've made the bridge, and I'm glad you did it the way you did, because Iran lent a nuclear weapon for that test. You realize that was not a working nuke that Kim Jong-Un demonstrated. Not at all.
Now you're blowing my mind. Okay. How did you come across this information?
People on the ground, people on the ground who are well aware of what's going on. Now, if we had an honest agency, now the CIA, if we had an honest agency, it would clear up the whole mess and support the president and what he's doing. But you notice that is not what's coming out.
Okay. Well, between Iran and North Korea, do you disagree with the assertion that they both want to destroy the United States?
No, that's absolute. Yeah, sure they do.
Okay, and if they had the chance,
one is not in a position of doing it. The other is.
Yeah.
Iran is are the people that we need to worry about. But you see, Iran is not stupid. They know that Kim is out of his gourd. You know, the man is nuts, and so they're not going to equip him or allow him to do what he could do, which would be, wouldn't it be natural for him to attack Iran?
For Kim to attack Iran? Why would he attack somebody he's been working with for decades?
Yeah, but he needs the oil. That's the only lever that they've got on this guy. They need his oil. Iran needs the market of North Korea for their oil.
Iran's got a pipeline to Russia. Why would they need to send it to North Korea?
It's a market. They got more oil than they can sell, and they need the money.
I still don't understand what would make little Kim nuke the people that have been working with him to develop weapons of mass destruction for over 30 years.
No, Iran is smart enough to know that this guy's unhinged.
Yeah.
If they ever tried to put the pressure on him inappropriately in his mind, he could nuke them. Well, if he wanted to borrow another nuke. That works.
They just don't give it to him.
Yeah, but you see, it's a symbiotic relationship. One feeds the other.
Yeah.
And whether it's oil or it's nukes, or it's fear around the world, or it's an authority that they don't have, they understand what a madman he is. The Iranians are not dumb, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So then, in your view, it's not North Korea that the United States needs to worry about. It's Iran. Is that right?
Well, Iran is the biggest problem, yes, but I mean, they'll control like a puppet. Jong-Un, they will. That's what they'll do.
Okay. And do you think that the United States is facing a nuclear threat from either North Korea or Iran in the near future?
Well, yeah, Iran will use the weapons that they have themselves against America in any way they want.
Yeah.
And they will equip Kim Jong-Un if it's appropriate for them and they can control it. But other than that, I don't think you'll see a lot of support for the crazy dude, the little fat guy in North Korea.
That sounds pretty cool. All right, Jim, thank you for being on The Truth is Viral. You've given us some great insight on what's going down in this deadly little drama in the Far East, as far as the connection between Iran and North Korea and Donald Trump and the forces of evil that would like to bring him down. I'd like to have you on the show again sometime. You bring up some amazing points. We don't always agree 100%, I don't think, but doggone it, that's the great thing, because when people,
there's some other folks whose programs I've been on. I've got to say this. They'll tell you this if you ask them the question, has Garrow been accurate? And they'll say 100% of the time. It may take a year to find it out.
Yeah.
But you'll discover that it's accurate.
Yeah, I believe that to be true. Well, thank you again, Jim, for being on the show. God bless you, brother. God bless you, brother. I'll talk at you later. Goodbye.
And you too. Bye-bye.
And that, my friends, was Dr. Jim Garrow. He's a good friend, a good Christian man. Man personally saved tens of thousands of young Chinese girls, from their one-child policy where young girls are just unwanted. Well, I'm sure their parents wanted them, but since the state said you can only have one child, they, had to kill them so that they would, try again and have a son that could support them in their own age. And Jim saved these tens of thousands of young girls from certain death. And you got to respect that. Thank you for watching The Truth is Viral. My name is Bob Powell. And as always, God bless, Semper Fi, and hoorah.
Thank you for watching The Truth is Viral with your host, Bobby Powell. Make sure to follow The Apocalypse on Twitter @The Truth is Viral. Like The Truth is Viral on Facebook. And if you can, please remember to donate to the cause via PayPal at www.bobpowell.blogspot.com.